to the masses and making sure that it does improve lives. So, can I start by the first question around India? One of the things you've done and your organization has done is you found ways of taking the power of AI, democratizing it, and making sure it solves problems that we all care about. In my speeches, I've talked about you. I've talked about oral reading fluency, the tool whereby for less than, and if I'm stealing your thunder, sorry, but he'll tell you a little bit more. But I've been talking about it because it's just amazing. I've been talking about the fact that your TB screening, you can do things that we couldn't imagine being done before. So, can you tell us more about your work in India?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Ankur, thank you for having me. I suspect the way I got over here was Gates Foundation needed someone for this chat. They looked around, they found this guy wandering around with two badges. They figured that means he's important. Let's get him. And next thing, I'm sitting over here. But thank you so much, Ankur. My brother and I launched the Vadvani Institute for Artificial Intelligence here in India about 8 years ago, 2018. Back then, AI wasn't a thing. ChatGPT hadn't come out. But I happened to be serving on the board of trustees of Carnegie Mellon University in the US, where I had studied, gotten my master's. And CMU was ranked then and still ranked number one in the world for artificial intelligence research and teaching. So being on the board, I could see all the billions of dollars coming into AI from Google and so on and so forth, even in those days. And it always pained me that none of this money was going into AI for societal development. 3, 4 billion people in the world out of 8 billion don't have access to decent healthcare, decent education. AI could be transformative, and that's what we're talking about today. But at that time, nothing was going in. So I spoke to my brother Ramesh. We decided, let's launch this Institute for AI in India. Prime Minister Modi came, inaugurated it, etc. So we hired a really good team of AI, machine learning people, spoke to government, identified use cases, started working, and nothing happened. Two couple of years went by. We were developing this, what we thought was really neat stuff, but it wasn't scaling up. So we took a look at the issues, etc. And then we started realizing, look, we're not approaching it quite right. We've got great AI solutions, but there is a lot more to actually having impact than just having a nice technical solution. So, and I'll in a couple of minutes tell you the key lessons that we've learned. But once we started figuring out, okay, what we were not doing and that we needed to be doing, then things started happening. So just to give you 2 or 3 examples, as Ankur mentioned, we identify our problems, our challenges that we want to focus AI on by working directly with government. We'll talk to the health ministry about their national priorities for the next 3, 4, 5 years. What should we do? We'll talk to the education ministry and so on. So 3 years ago, the health ministry told us that tuberculosis is a very high priority for us. It's the largest infectious disease killer in the world, kills close to 2 million people a year. Largest infectious disease killer in India, kills close to 500,000 people over here. And for each person that dies, there are 20 others that don't die, but they live miserable lives. And they are infecting lots of other people as they go on. So the government, the health ministry said, can you help? So we took a look at the whole cascade of care in tuberculosis. What's the patient journey like? Where are the 3 or 4 or 5 key pain points? And we identified, okay, diagnosis is number one, because in these economically vulnerable communities where TB happens, you need X-ray machines, you need sputum analysis, and in these communities, you don't have all this stuff. You don't have X-ray machines that work and are calibrated and so on. Problem number one. Problem number two, sputum analysis is another way of diagnosing TB, but these samples go to 64 government labs around India where they are analyzed, etc. And it takes time for the results to come back to the patient. And for those that have TB, you've lost a lot of valuable time. Third big challenge is there's a number of patients with TB who are on the medication regimen, But these are very toxic medicines. They really destroy your body while they're trying to cure you of TB. So a lot of people stop taking these medicines and they develop drug-resistant TB, which is much worse, 40% mortality, 50% mortality rate, etc. So we started applying AI to each of these issues. On the diagnosis, we've come up with a way of detecting tuberculosis from the sound of a cough into a smartphone. It's instant, it's quick. We don't just say yes or no, we give the risk of this person having TB, what's the probability, etc. That is now rolling out nationally and it is becoming the national standard. And by the way, we're the only country that has this. Doesn't exist anywhere. World Health Organization has told us this could be a game changer globally. For the sputum analysis, we've developed an AI model. So now the sputum analysis in these 64 government labs, totally automated, results come out within a day, go back to the patient, treatment starts. Perhaps the most challenging thing, these patients who will fall off their medication. We've developed AI algorithms that predict well ahead of time which TB patients are likely to fall off the medication. So then the 2,000 TB caseworkers in India, which is a very limited number for 4 million TB patients, they can focus on the right people. This is impacting now tens of millions of people. Just in the last year, the rate of TB detection, thanks to our cough against TB, has gone up by 25%. You may think that's bad news, higher numbers, but now we can treat these patients. We can get them on the right, clinical care protocols. That's one example. Education. Throughout the global south, there is a very high dropout rate of young children from schools, very high in grades 1 through 5. Problem in India, problem everywhere. We got a call from a very large state government in India that said, we've got this issue, can you help? We sent a team in and we had to analyze what's causing this high dropout rate. We learned that the single biggest reason for this high dropout rate is an inability of these very young children, 7, 8, 9 years old, to be able to read proficiently in their mother tongue. If you can't read, it affects how you do in every subject, right? Science, history, geography, as you struggle, you start failing, you get frustrated, and these are again poor communities. Your parents say, forget school, what's the point? Come work in the field or work in the kitchen, and that affects the rest of their lives. We've come up with an AI-based suite of tools that designed for the child that goes to the teacher. And for the child, we come out with personalized exercises, stories that they can read at home, but which help them to get better at their specific area of weakness. Each child is different. We were in pilot with the state. They were so impressed, they made it mandatory for all 3 million school kids in that state, in that age group. State of Rajasthan saw it recently. They made it here in that age group. So that's the kind of scale one can get. What's the difference between what we were not doing in our first 2 or 3 years versus what we're doing now? What we learned is number one, the only way to scale is government. You have to work with government from day one. Working with government isn't easy, right? It's easy to say, it's challenging, it can be frustrating at times, but you have to understand how to navigate it. How do you work with senior civil servants? Start with and, approach them with humility, not like you have the answers. You're trying to understand the problem. You want to work with them. Secondly, things scale from day one. You can't develop an AI solution and then say, oh, I want to use it on 1 million people. There are issues you have to think in right in the beginning as to how will this scale out, how will large scale training happen in the field, how will frontline health workers or teachers or other governments, how will they use this? So thinking that way is very upfront. And in fact, with government, what we do now is once we identify a problem, even before we work on the technical solution, we plan that deployment to scale as to what will happen, and we make government accountable for a lot of it, just as we're accountable for the technical side. The other really key learning has been that government, and this relates, Ankur, to what you were just saying, has developed a lot of digital public infrastructure. Aadhaar is like the great example that we're all aware of, right? UPI, United Payment Interface, incredible example of that. So there are lots of things in healthcare, in education, and agriculture where the government has developed this digital public infrastructure. And it's critical, we didn't know this, this was probably our key finding. It's critical to find a government platform that you can integrate into. So the examples I've given of TB, government has a wonderful platform called Nikshay. It's like a case management system for tuberculosis patients. We've integrated everything we developed our algorithms into that platform. The education, this early childhood reading proficiency, each state has a platform. Rajasthan, as an example, has a platform called Rakshak for 70,000 schools, 400,000 teachers, 8 million students. We plugged our algorithms into that platform. So if these platforms hadn't been there, we'd be struggling to scale any of this up. The final learning that we've had, and maybe this is the most important, is all these technical solutions are great at a macro level, right? To bring down TB, to improve reading proficiency, etc. But at the end of the day, if the person using this tool, the frontline health worker, the teacher, if it doesn't make life easier for them, in addition to improving education for the child or healthcare for the patient, it won't happen. You can push all you want from the top that, oh, you must use this, but there's got to be pull. They've got to want to use it, and that happens only when you make life easier for them.
Thank you very much, Sunil. Um, I do want. Yeah, we have the next panel coming. Okay. All right. So we'll do the next question a little bit quicker, but I do want to just acknowledge a few things, call out a few things. One is this journey between innovation and impact. I love what the learnings you talked about because we keep on sometimes focusing on the innovation part and we think that the road from innovation to impact is a straight road. And it's not. It's possible, it's probable, but it's not guaranteed. And we need to work hard at it. And so your learnings get to it. It's also one of the reasons why we love our 7-year partnership, and hopefully it'll be much more as
Yep.
as we think about, as some of you know, the Gates Foundation yesterday announced a new initiative, a new pledge around AI for AI, which is Advantage India for AI. And the idea is to make investments in India for the global south. And we're looking forward to partnering with you. So, Sunil, one of the places where we do partner, and we're talking about things, in fact, earlier today, we were talking about work in Ethiopia and Rwanda and Kenya. Can you talk a little bit more about how you think about your work in the context of South-South partnership, and how do you take the learnings you have from one place to the other place?
Sure. So when we got started, our goal was only India, right? My brother and I, we are from India, our hearts are still here. So we weren't thinking about any place else. But what's happened is as our AI solutions have been scaling up in India quite dramatically, and we are today impacting over 100 million people a year, we've developed over 25 AI platforms in partnership with government. We've started over the last year getting a lot of inquiries from governments around the world in the global south saying what you're doing in India, we need in Kenya or in Rwanda or in Indonesia or Egypt or Mexico. By the way, in India, we don't just develop these solutions, we also do a lot of capacity building, meaning training of senior civil servants on how you can use AI, what it's good for, not good for, etc. We help ministries develop data governance standards, use case frameworks, and so on. Then we do the actual solutions development. That's the biggest chunk of what we do. But then we have a big deployment team. We have close to 100 people making sure that these things get deployed. So we were thinking only India, but over the last year, we started getting all these inquiries. And we finally said, look, we set up this foundation to have impact globally. So now we sent a team out to Africa to meet with several countries. We are starting operations this month in Rwanda, Ethiopia, and Kenya, and I'm glad to see our colleague over here from Smart Africa. We will be partnering in this work. We're very excited about that. And then beyond that, we expect to be going to a number of other places. Today, as I said, we're impacting maybe 100 million people in India. Our goal is by the year 2030 to be impacting 500 million people. We're very excited about our partnership with you with the Gates Foundation, Ankur. So the Prime Minister Modi, if you heard him yesterday in his speech, he gave a brilliant speech. As part of that, he said, for the last several years, I've been saying, make in India for the world. He said, now I want to add to that in this age of AI, design in India for the world, develop in India for the world, and then deliver these solutions to the world. And that is what we're trying to do over here. That's the evolution in our thinking. And again, we're excited, very excited about the partnership with you.
Thank you, Sunil. I think we have a change of plan.
Thank you so much. And Sunil, if you could please stay on stage and if I could invite our panel up. Shalini Kapoor, Chief Strategist from the XStep Foundation, Lasina Kone, Director General and CEO of Smart Africa, and Shiko Gatau, CEO of Kala.
For 2 days, yes. Oh, that's fine. So I'm not imagining this. Yeah. It gets started. Oh, with the picture. Thank you. Yeah, good. Good to start. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Ankur. Thanks for your time. And here we are. And thanks, Sunil, for spending some more time with us. Thanks, Shiko. We have been meeting, bumping into each other. Uh, and thanks, Lucina. Thanks for being here. Um, so we'll get into some of the discussions on the South-South collaboration uh, that is um, that is spurring innovation and that is diffusing AI into all the sectors. AI diffusion is about the roots and the rails which need to be laid in AI the similar way digital rails were laid in the DPI time, and now they can be shared. They are playbooks. They can be shared. And AI diffusion actually concept came from it started with Jeffrey Hinton talking about it. He's a professor in Georgetown in DC, where he talked about that how actually electricity was created in Germany, but it was diffused across India, sorry, USA, where USA made so much of strides into it. So, like electricity, AI is a general purpose technology. It's a GPT which is there. And between invention and impact, there's a big layer of adoption and diffusion which needs to be there so that AI gets diffused into society. And when it gets diffused into society, something which can be built in Kenya can come to India, something which is built in India can go to Kenya, because there are playbooks which could be leveraged. Not everybody needs to build everything. Not everybody needs to build the entire stack. How do we learn from each other, and how does that South-South collaboration happens? That's what is the focus. So I'll start with the pathways. What are the pathways to scale? And I'll start with Lucina. That you are leading Smart Africa, and you help coordinate across a lot of nations, um, different stages of AI. Somebody in pilot, somebody in production. Somebody has solved data. Somebody has solved language. Somebody has solved voice AI. What do you think are the opportunities for the South-South collaboration in building these pathways together?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me. In fact, that collaboration, first of all, before we even talk about South-South, the collaboration is the essence of the creation of a smart Africa. Because if you look at Africa through just only Kenya, which is 50 million, Ghana, which is 30 million, or Nigeria, which is 240 million, you're missing the point. But if you look at Africa as a 1.4 billion people, but be able to leverage that 1.4, you need a collaboration in the scale. So coming from that, when you look at the continent of Africa, which is technically speaking the global south, I don't want to get there here in the global south. And the South-South collaboration is very important because we do not need to reinvent the wheel. India has shown the world what the DPI actually mean for 1.4 billion people. It's working digital ID, a country which is able to organize an election for 850 million people to vote. You have to actually kudos. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Africa can learn a lot from India, even with the use cases. But why use cases particularly? Because there's a lot of similarity between India and Africa in terms of culture, in terms of value, that we all know we are into the AI, we're into digital transformation. It's not just to create the luxury of the society, is be able to have a population, inclusion of the population, ethical of the technology, exactly. So that, coming from that, that's one of the reasons to reboost actually Smart Africa initiative. The creations of the Africa AI Council came into play, where last April, on April 4th, 2025, 49 countries came together to actually sign the declaration. And subsequent to that, the AI Council came to life on the November 12th, 2025 in Guinea after our board of directors, which are represented by head of the state, announced that, accepted that we create the AI Council. We had a first meeting already. Then the council consists of 15 members. It's not only driven by public, but it has 7 ministers coming from 7 different countries and 8 private sector members. Why? Because in our constitution as Smart Africa, private sector first. We do believe that the government should be creating a conducive environment for the private sector to excel. It cannot be dominated by public sector. And underneath of the council, we have, of course, 6 thematic group, mainly computing. So we can look at the collaboration, South-South and computing power. We can look at it in the data set. We can look at the skills. We can look at in the regulation, which is the governance. We can look into the market, and we can look at investment. And when it comes in terms of investment, something we need to know, the investments in the prior technologies, the investment cycle is too slow for the AI. Just look back 12 months ago. Where were we and where we are today? So this is some of the things we need to look at it carefully. We are looking at the 3 aspects. One, the government need to be creating a conducive environment for private sector to chip in. The private sector need to be executing, but they can only execute, as I said, everyone's cry because they said finance is the issue. I always said finance is not the issue. Finance is the last thing you should think about. You know why? Because I say financing is like the rain. For rain to fall, you need certain condition of the cloud. Those clouds are the regulatory environment, the conducive environment for business private sector, because private sector do not like unpredictability. So the third thing is the philanthropics. The reason why I want to speak about it, the philanthropic needs to serve as a to de-risk the area, because these are some of the things government is the last thing to invest in a technology because they want to make sure it's going to work. But the philanthropist is the time for them to accelerate, to use that as a de-risking while the private sector can chip in and so on and so forth. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you talked about DPI, you talked about the private sector, public coming together. It's the entire ecosystem. And on 18th, actually, Mr. Nandan Nilikani actually announced 100 pathways to 2030, which is a clarion call. If you ask me, it's a clarion call for people to join to create pathways. Simply because, if you climb Mount Everest, suppose Edmund Hillary has climbed Mount Everest, and do you think he'll come back and he'll say, I'm not going to tell you how I climbed, what is the route I took? Where did I go? Where did I not go? What did I see? He will talk about, right? He will talk about the so that it is easy for other other travelers to come in. So pathway is like that. If someone has done the AI pathway, others should learn from it, benefit from it. So, Shiko, you were with us on the stage when you joined and you said that, from the global south, 100 pathways to scale, you would like to join us. Please tell us, how can that diffusion help? How can this, we can work, collaborate to get the AI use cases from pilot to production?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me? Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. I feel like we've been in 5 different panels with Shalini this week, but it's all good. So first of all, I want to say thank you so much to India for hosting this amazing event, and of course for the Gates Foundation for the many things you've done this week. I hear that India is trying to get the Guinness World of Record for the biggest ever conference tomorrow with 1.5 million. I feel like I need to ask MITI to add an asterisk to have the most diverse AI summit ever. So thank you so much. And this is cues me into what South actually means and what collaboration means. As Shalini has mentioned, we had a whole day of collaboration. We had 2 days. On the 17th, we brought researchers from across the global south, Latin America, India, Southeast Asia, and Africa to just have a conversation around how do we do research together, how do we build together, what are the things like DG has said that we can work together as a global majority. I know we've had this discussion: is it global majority, is it global south? We or middle power, because you're not going to be lower power. Anyway, we are something. We just need to define who we are. But we are the majority of the globe. How do we work together? And it was a very fulfilling day, if I had a word for it. Yeah. And we saw that people are able to work together. Oh, I need to pause because of authority. I can finish? Okay. Um, so it's that collaboration, and as I was saying, this idea of how do we bring this multiplicity of thinking together, given that we have the same exact challenges. We have challenges around, we have multiple languages, we have culture and diversity, we have things that we need to be able to work together. How do we collaborate together? And for us, the biggest takeaway is, how do we make AI not just a technology, but a political and economical issue? Yeah, that was the biggest one, because the people are there, the builders were there, the researchers were there, the policymakers were there. But we need that political goodwill to be able to make this work together. And something that CV Madoka from, I've forgotten the organization, CV said that struck really a chord to everybody, including myself, is we need to start having a conversation on what is called the collaboration tax. And it's something, DG, when we were coming in, we were talking about. And I'll define collaboration tax as this effort, resources, and things that you need to put together to be able to collaborate with each other. It's what the government should be doing. It's what that political part of AI should be doing to bring the collaboration together. And how do we make these people come together without the effort not the effort, the pain of collaboration? And that's what we need to be talking about, because the resources are there, the people are there, people are willing to collaborate and work together. We saw it this week. And as the minister said, I said, while you're chasing the Guinness World of Record of having the most number of people, also chase for the diversity that these countries have seen. Thank you so much for bringing Africa and the world to India.
Thank you, Shiko. Thank you so much. We'll take a small, break in the panel discussion, and we'll have Mr. Krishnan come here and talk about how scale and collaboration can help in the South and what is transferable from India. I know he's like busy and across all, so over to you, Mr. Krishnan.
I was just going to do one more thing, which is thank you, Shalini, and thank you to the panel for allowing us this small break. For those of you who don't know, Secretary Krishnan from the Ministry of Métis is over here. He's had probably one of the most amazing, successful weeks this week. So please join me and give him a big round of applause for. Secretary Krishnan, thank you for, as a proud Indian, I'm quite excited about the fact what happened this week. I'm also, as somebody who cares about the agenda of this Global South, everything that happened in India this week put the Global South agenda right front and center. So thank you for doing that. There were so many announcements made this week about how we're going to make progress in the months and years to come together. Would love to welcome you to give a little bit more context of the announcements that were made and the achievements that were achieved this week. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Let me first apologize to the panel for having sort of stepped in abruptly, but between juggling many things going on across this the summit, I think this was a very important session as far as I was concerned, because if this particular summit was about one thing, it was about the Global South. The fact that India representing the Global South could actually dare to host this event and also dare to host it on this scale. The one thing we were very clear about is summits thus far have basically been about country leaders, it's been about CEOs, and it's been about some experts getting together in closed rooms and not really having the opportunity to do what, or to actually showcase to people as to what the possibility of the technology is. And this particular event gave us that opportunity. I think we were very clear that what we wanted to do was to let people into the rooms. We wanted to make sure that people, especially youth, had this opportunity to come and listen to the best minds there are on artificial intelligence as technology, and to every possible perspective on how this technology can work for everybody. And the second thing, of course, as you're well aware, we said people, planet, progress. And two aspects of it were very important. One was, or three, if I can. One is democratizing access to AI, all the AI infrastructure and resources. That was one key aspect. The second key aspect was including those who are not ordinarily given access to this, those who are excluded. And the third key aspect is putting humans at the center of this process to make sure that this is a technology that works for people. And I think the Prime Minister was very clear and emphatic in his address yesterday, where he put people, or Manav, right at the heart of AI. So to enable this to happen, of course, multiple things have to happen. We have to find frugal ways to innovate in order to make these resources available. We believe that our own AI mission model, the India AI mission model, is one of those frugal ways in which both the compute infrastructure and the model infrastructure and the data set infrastructure can be created for each country, because some of this needs to be on a specific basis for regions and for countries. In India, we are a subcontinental scale. There are 22 official languages and many other languages which need to be taught, or which need to be understood. And we understand this cultural and linguistic diversity better than any other region in the world. And we can, at a continental scale, we can contribute in that effort. That is one key element. The second key element, of course, is to create compute in a way so that it doesn't, people are not enabled to build moats around it. That, the implication that you need the kind of resources to do this, that nobody else can do it and only we can do it, is not an approach we wanted to take. So we created this model where the private sector is encouraged to invest. We created this model where access to it is something which the government subsidizes. In the process today, AI compute in India is available at a third of the price that it is available in the rest of the world. I think that has been the a significant achievement. The United Nations asked us, saying, would it be possible to, once you build it out on scale, would it be possible to share with the rest of the world? This is something that we have committed to them, saying as and when the size is adequate so that we can meet other requirements, we will be happy to share we are happy to share the model even now. But the AI Kosh model, as we call it, the AI Treasury, is something that we are happy to share even now. We are happy to share the fact that the models that we have supported in India and which have been built out as sovereign models in India, that again is technology that we are happy to share with the global south. It's something we can enable. Some of it is something we've built with our own resources, so it is in a sense completely sovereign. Unlike in many other places, it's something that the government has paid for from taxpayer resources and we can use. And the third element, of course, is the data sets and how they are shared. Now, that framework is again something we can certainly share. The most important thing, and I think that's what is also showcased so eloquently in the expo, is the range of applications which have been created out of this. And there are close to 900 startups across all those halls who have done a variety of things. Even in the main hall, with the Gates Foundation, we have set up the African Village, which is such a showcase even to the leaders, fundamentally about applications which can work there, and fundamentally for people to see applications which have worked in different parts of the world which can be taken elsewhere. So all of those are available. Those are resources which we want to share. These are resources we want to actually give. And most importantly, as I said, I think if there is one thing that this summit reflects, for the first time, we've actually democratized AI. We've shown you what democratic AI looks like when people are let into the rooms, when people are let into the halls, and they can see for themselves as to how this would work. So it gives me immense pleasure that, and a very, very key partner for us in all of this has been the Gates Foundation right from the very outset, right from the planning stage of how we wanted to do this. This particular part of the set of sessions on the Global South is something that we've worked closely with, curated carefully. We've put together sessions which will be relevant to this group. And we've always made sure that in addition to this, of course, on every occasion, whether it is in the space of DPI or whether it is in the space of any of the other applications, we are in a position to support it. Under one of our organizations, the National Institute of Smart Governance, we have now put in a center which is fundamentally focused on international cooperation so that they can actually provide support to other countries where DPIs are to be actually implemented, how to ground them. And we believe that probably the most effective way of dealing with this is to actually be able to cooperate amongst ourselves so that we are able to take it out, we are able to learn from each other, we are able to contribute to each other. And that is something we are now really ready to do. India knows what it is to be deprived of or denied technology. India knows what it is to actually try and work your way past it. We've managed to do that. We've managed to democratize it. We've managed to make it available to people at scale. We have tried to keep it open source. We've tried to protect it in a number of ways from cyber attacks in each of those areas. So in this entire technology stack, there is experience, there is the way that we've leapfrogged different stages. So I think if we work together in the AI space, likewise, there is so much that can be accomplished, and we undertake as a nation. I think I can say with responsibility that we will have devices and we will have structures through which we can sort of deepen this cooperation. We can deepen the support. We can enable this in a number of ways, and continue to stay engaged through the Gates Foundation, through the other institutions to actually make this happen. So thank you very much. Thank you to Gates Foundation for curating this particular event, and thanks to all of you for participating in this. I mean, it's one thing to arrange it, one thing to organize it, but another thing for all of you to actually come up here, put up with some of the inconvenience which would have been caused. India is not a very convenient country at best of times, but India is a country with spirit, and India is a country which fixes things quickly. So So we've sort of, I think it's just been a story of continuous improvement, and we will stay together, stay engaged, and the same spirit of excitement, energy, and engagement should continue. Thank you very much.
We all should give a standing ovation please, for a great summit. I think it's been a fantastic week for all of us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We should have a picture with you, Secretary.
We've been partnering. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I tell you, thanks to you and to the Prime Minister, there's this sense of openness now in government and this belief that technology and AI can transform society. Right now. So we are so happy to be partnering. Thank you for having me.
It's a great now the next step.
I know. You too.
Do you mind if we take a
Yeah, yeah, sure.
We can stand here.
Look at the officials. Used to not put up with you. As a government member for outsiders.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm glad you could make it. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. Congrats.
Congratulations.
Hello, Sandor from Oxford University in Exchange Partners, and I would say you are Secretary General so far, and with the Prime Minister, David Cameron, so I work on international cooperation on AI, and I want to congratulate you on the successful.
Thank you so much.
So, I'm Director of Multilateral and Senior Advisor to the World Trade, and so you know well.
Thank you.
Okay, we have some time with us. How much? 5 minutes. And we need to have a question to Sunil. He has been working at, so many interesting. I mean, I listened to the stories of Vadhwani AI, and they inspire you thoroughly. So, Sunil, I'll give it to you. I want, I want people to hear your message that how can these work that has been done in India, how can it help Global South?
So, as Mr. Kone of Smart Africa said 15 minutes ago, the challenges that we have in the Global South generally, Africa, India, other countries are similar. The values we have, more importantly, are very similar. The strengths that we bring to the table in terms of our talent, our youth, etc., are similar. So I think it's mutual learning. It's not one way. It's not that we've developed great stuff in India that can just be, taken over. It's mutual learning on both sides. It's a mutual sharing of ideas. There are lots of very good things happening in Africa, in Asia, that we can learn from over here. On the technology side, as you were saying, Shalini, we've been fortunate. We've had a government that is very pro-technology. There's a tremendous range of digital public infrastructure that we can access in India that provides data pipelines, it provides digital distribution systems without which none of this AI can scale. There's been a very clear regulatory framework for AI that's been developed in India. That really helps. And most important, there's an openness in government, and I think it's driven by the Prime Minister's vision and belief that technology and AI can truly transform societal development. So those to me are the big things, more than individual AI solutions that really make a difference. And I see that happening in Africa in many countries.
Sure, thank you so much. I think we are literally at the eve of the summit getting over. It's been a fantastic week, meeting the best of the people, listening to the best of the sessions, navigating the traffic, yes, But like Secretary Krishnan said, that we fix everything. So I just want to have one last question to each of the panelists. What's the best thing you liked of the summit? And to you, Sunil, first. I mean, one moment, one feeling that you will carry forward
I
with
will
you.
give you a counterintuitive answer. AI is making the world move faster and faster and faster, and all the traffic challenges we've had over here are teaching us patience. You will get there, things will happen, life will go on.
Thank you so much. Shiko, what's the one feeling you'll travel back with, back to Africa?
I think no, this one it works again. I think my best moment is, and I'm going to pick and be selfish in the moment in Oberoi when I stood and saw this diverse sea of faces. I think about 300 people, and we were all celebrating like we can do this as the global south. This is happening in our turf, and there's belief that the global south has something to offer into this AI conversation. So it's no longer a two horse race, it's a multiple horse race. Thank you.
For me, it's our vision is to transform Africa into a single digital market. Coming here, this summit shows me already our future, having 1.4 billion people on the one regulation. How does it feel like? So you know what I'm talking about. That's one of our obstacles. Says regulatory harmonization. India, you do not have that. Multicultural, you have a multicultural. Multilingual, you have a multicultural. What does it feel like, including the traffic in the morning as well, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. And my best moment for the summit was that back in Oberoi's on 18th evening, several partners across Italy, Kenya, Anthropic, Google, Carnegie, ORF, Gates, Step stood next to Nandan Nilekani, and we all like came together for 100 pathways to 20, till 2030, and we all were together, and we were not doing that non-collaboration pictures which is going on in Insta, right? We were all together, right? So it was AI is about collaboration, not competition. That's the theme. Thank you.
Thank you. Great. Really enjoyed listening to you. Lucina, you're the best, man. You're the best.
Thank you, Mr. Sunil.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. Come, come this way. Come, come.
Oh, you're going this way. More photos.
More photos, sir.
More photos.